Hello, welcome back to Chosen Earth Angel Queen channel. I'm back with another message. I'm so excited to be giving this message today. So excited for y'all to be here. Shout out to you, Earth Angels, chosen ones. Shout out to you, all my God-given beautiful people. Come on, shout out to you. Clap it up to you for tapping into this message today. This is going to be a message, and this has to do, I want to bring a question to your mind, okay? Now, if God made the earth, he made the planets, and he made them move a certain way, why would you not think that that is significant? If God created humans, he created rain, he created what makes the earth so beautiful. God created seasons. God creates when the wind blows. He created wind. I mean, can something that significant? God created all these beautiful wonders, all these beautiful things. How can we not consider it? How can we not consider these things? If the moon impacts the earth and it impacts the ground and it impacts the crops, and the full moons impacts the crops, the new moons, and were significant, and it says this in the Bible, it was saying that God's, and I remember as a kid, they used to say that God's thumb was the moon, like the moon was his fingernail. That would be an analogy they used to say growing up, that God's thumb was the moon was his thumb, and as you see, getting bigger and bigger, that was his nail growing, I guess. And they would say that the rain was God's tears, okay? And all these environment, all these elements, wouldn't that be significant if they used to practice honoring the full moon and the new moon in the Bible? If they honored these things, wouldn't that be significant? Why would they honor this stuff, these beautiful creations? Shouldn't we take that into consideration too? God gave us a mind to think. And then people say we're not allowed to question or tap in because of a man-made ideology of religion that have been taught to us, so that we can't admire or question some of the world's greatest marvels. The Bible it does not put an attention onto certain facts. Like, it's stories and parables that preachers been teaching that gets pointed out often, okay? There's teachings and things of that nature, but certain things like them honoring the moon, that we don't stay there. We don't talk about that. But this was significant. And we've lost feeling free enough to question everything. We're so accustomed to what the preacher's been preaching, the sermons they've been teaching, and we're so accustomed to honing in on those parables, on those teachings, that we forget all the other pieces of the Bible. We forget all the parts that make the whole picture. So I say, why are we so focused on the religion and the parables, and we forget about what God created? And we can't, because of the Bible, we can't question God's marvels. We can't wonder why the moon, it moves every 2 days, why the wind blows. When you think a good thought over something, all of a sudden a gust of wind comes. We can't wonder why this stuff is happening, because the Bible says that in religion that, this is the way to get to God. So everything else is, we can't look at nature. We can't look at the birds and find the meanings, the colors and find the meanings, the numbers and find the meanings. We have to think bigger. How I got ahead was I got in sync with the moon. I let go of people that didn't serve me, people who had bad habits, people who were just going to lower my energy. I just started off fresh. And I went away, and I went away from every single body and every single thing, and I started better habits. I started better eating habits, mental thinking habits, better visuals, what I would watch, what I listened to, what music I would play. I would take where I was nourishing myself, what I was feeding myself, where I was taking wisdom from. I made sure that it was a great source of wisdom, from a great source. And I spent a lot of time with spirit. Everything I'm describing to you is when I say I put in the work. This is the work that you put in, okay? When you put this work in, this is like the perfect solution to excelling and moving past to a place where you've never even been before. I never gave up when the enemy came against me, and that's how I got ahead. That's how I got where I'm at today. I never gave up, and I just spent time with spirit. And I'm encouraging you guys to do that now. Don't give up. Spend time with spirit. Don't be hung up on religious teachings that were taught to our ancestors to keep them in bondage spiritually. Okay? To make them feel condemned so they could not access the truth. They could not activate the truth because they had religion getting in the way of the truth. And religion, it's like a maze. You go there and you're trying to find your way out, but you're going to be stuck in a maze. Freedom and getting out the maze is not allowing that religion to keep you in a box. Okay? So it's time to break free from the box. It's time to get away from something that was created to keep you in bondage. It's time to activate and call in what our ancestors have been doing for millions of years. This is what they did. Millions of years ago, this is what they did. So it's time to unpack everything that you know and learn things that you didn't know so you can activate the God that's inside of you so you can start to excel in places that you never been before. Every person that I see that is well off, they all remind me of someone whose mindset is not caged in. They had to visualize themselves where they're at. And when you visualize yourself to be of something, you have to do things that are totally different than what you ever done before to get those type of results. If you do things, if you visualize yourself and you're just, visualizing yourself as an average person, then you get the average results. A lot of people visualize, they're not average, but they visualize themselves as average because they're in the rat race, because they're following what everyone else is doing, and they don't reach their full potential because they haven't activated it. They use the same tools and tactics that everyone else around them is using to keep them in bondage, to keep them from seeing themselves so small. Keep them from thinking that they could, overcome obstacles and actually reach their goals. But people who are well off, their mindset is always on what they know they're capable of doing, that inclining of the following their dreams, that confidence on completing a mission, completing what they feel inside of them, that destiny, that purpose. So I encourage you to start thinking, seeing yourself in a higher light, and start doing things that are totally different from what you're normally used to, so you can start seeing results that is you being in a place that you've never been before, that you've never experienced before. Life is for the living. So Spirit is saying to make sure that you're not in a bondage, in a belief system of religion, and that you have the freedom in order to see yourself in a bigger light, in order to make choices for yourself that are totally different from what everyone else around you is doing, so you can get to this place where you want to be at. Like the people that are well off, they all thought bigger and executed, and made sure that they were disciplined enough to make their dreams a reality. That means I have to separate myself from doing things the way that everyone else is doing it. I have to get out of the rat race, and I have to think a way and make moves in a way that's going to push me out of what I'm used to. And I have talked about that before. It's hard, so hard when you are in an environment where everything around you is trying to push you down. When everyone around you is not goal oriented, they're smoking and drinking, they're just, toiling their life away at the things that are unhealthy for them. And then you're the person that, if you're in the same household as these people, you have to experience these people, you have to be disciplined enough to fight off their energy with your belief system, with your, you have to go into a spiritual warfare. You got to see what someone is saying, and see what type of energy they're trying to invoke in you, or what certain things, what kind of energy invokes in you when you do certain things or hang around certain people. And then you have to be disciplined enough to cut that stuff off. Like, okay, well, this person is toxic, but I'm stuck in this place with them. How do I live with this toxic person? Well, I better not argue back with them. Well, if they're saying something negative to me, and they're just always talking trash, I gotta find time when they're done, done with me, chewing me out. I have to find time to put my headphones on and listen to positive vibes and uplift myself again, because these people are breaking me down and I don't have a way out of it. But you have to be mentally and emotionally and physically ready to fight off what is around you. And I went through that. I was in a period, I remember going through a period where everything around me was just lower vibe. Everything, I didn't have the money. I was in the hood. I was in an abusive relationship. I had everything just, it was like, it was not looking good for your girl. It wasn't looking good. The way everything was just lined up, it probably didn't look like I could make it out of that. But I was so disciplined. I understood what I was up against. I was just like, okay, how do I get out of this abusive relationship? This person is always drinking. They're always cursing me out, trying to belittle me, making me manipulate me, gaslight me, physically assault me. And I was like, I gotta make it out of this. So eventually, I used to just say affirmations. Like, I knew this person was going to argue with me. I knew what this person was going to say and do. So I used to combat it. Like, okay, he's going to spend 10 times cursing me out, argue with me. He's going to spend all this time. As soon as he's done, I'm going to put my headphones on. I'm going to drive out all the negative feelings and things that this man tried to do to me. I'm going to do something to offset what he just did. And it sucked, but it didn't have to be like that always. Like, you would think like, okay, well, why didn't you just get out that situation? Sometimes you can't just get out that situation. Sometimes you have to think of an exit strategy. And in the meantime, in between time, you can't allow this abusive situation tear you down. It was down. Like, I was in the hood, the neighbors was toxic, everything was just toxic. And I had to think big. I remember looking out the window of the hotel room. I wasn't even in a place. I was homeless. And I remember looking out the window and just telling God, like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. And I remember just keeping the faith, like, okay, I'm going to say my affirmations. I'm going to do this even though this, this person is trying to bring me down with them. And eventually, the straw broke this camel's back, and I ended up getting out that relationship. But it took a while. Even though that I had got away from him, I was like a pig returning to my own vomit. I had to go. I would get away from him, but then it was like the toxicity was calling me back. So I would find myself asking him to come back, even though, God delivered me out of it and I was free and I didn't have to deal with it anymore. But I was so used to that energy, I would, call it back into my life. And I had to literally stop being my own worst enemy. I had to get more disciplined, and I had to really cut people off, really, say enough is enough. I'm not going to see this person no more. I'm not going to deal with them no more. And it was hard, but God will give you the strength. God will give you the strength. So I have no idea why I shared that story, because I wasn't intending on sharing any stories, no personal stories with this message, but someone needed to hear it. And I just want to say that be encouraged. Be encouraged. Know that you can make it out of anything. I don't care if you don't got no money, you homeless, strung out on drugs, you're in an abusive relationship, and you can make it out of that and manifest a mansion and a better life. Like, for real. Like, you cannot let your circumstances dictate the hope you have and trust you have in God, and the hope that you have for a better life. Certain people just roll over. They say, well, I'm already in this deep. I'm already done so much. I already got 3 kids, 5 different baby daddies. I already got, debt, and you've been in this abusive relationship, and who else is going to love me? So I'm just going to stay. And people settle, and when people settle, that's them giving up on life. That's a straight up give up. They don't even know that they can leave their relationship. They don't even know that it doesn't matter if they got 5 kids, 5 baby daddies, and ain't nobody taking care of them, and they can still go follow their biggest dreams, and they still can go make something happen. They don't know that. They don't believe that. They just stay down. And I'm here to say, like, I know for a fact, if you really work on your mindset and what you believe, you can overcome that. It takes discipline, and it just takes for you to make the intention every day to change. And you get in a routine of making that intention, you're not going to see the results. Sometimes you can see the results fast. It took me a minute to see the results. I'm looking back now from 5 years ago, and I'm like, whoa, I'm nowhere near where I was at 5 years ago. Like, the people, places, and things, none of them. I'm not in no abusive relationships. I'll never be broke a day in my life. I will never be homeless another day in my life, or nothing like that. Like, certain chains I literally broke, and at the time I was going through it, like, I just had a little bit of hope. I didn't know I would be, like, I didn't know God was like, I'm about to make your biggest dreams come true, because the odds were stacked against me. Single mother, no job, whatever statistics that you want to throw out there. I had the skill set, but I wasn't working, and I was just depressed and getting abused, and eventually God was like, eventually all my hard work paid off, because I started saying those affirmations. I started, like I said, offsetting the negative energy that I was around. I moved out of the hood. At the time I was in the hood, and I was homeless, and then someone said, you know what? Don't live in the hood no more. That's where lower energy is at. It was all kind of, you live in the hood, be people dying around you, and banging, fighting, and domestic violence, drug dealing. It'd be all kind of stuff to keep you in a box. So I said, I'm gonna move out of the hood. And I moved out of the hood. Once I changed my environment, I developed better eating habits. I said, I'm about to start eating better. And I just literally, like, I started making adjustments. And then sooner or later I was like, okay, I'm gonna move into a house now that's not in the hood, and then I'm gonna clear my credit, and then I'm gonna start owning property. And then, I started, it was levels. But I came from nothing, and I had to make. I didn't say I came from nothing because I've always been something, but I came from not knowing who I am to knowing who I am to when I knew who I am, I wasn't in the right space. It was like, okay, I know who I am, but look where I'm at. My environment not matching who I am. So then I had to make my environment match who I was, and that's because I stayed disciplined onto who I was. And I'm a child of God. I'm royalty. My ancestors are kings and queens. So I'm going to operate and act as that as the truth. And I'm not going to live a lie. I'm not going to believe a lie. And I don't care what my circumstances are. I don't care what someone else had, that you know, had the cards that I was dealt, how they turned out. Well, I'm gonna be the exception. And sure enough. So I hope y'all enjoyed this message. I'm gonna cut it right there, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this message. If y'all did, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back again with some more messages. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all have a good one. Bye.